Hi everyone, Slangel here from Slangel Designs, and today I'm just going to do a quick little tutorial. I was hoping to get back into week 2 of the alphabet blanket, but that takes a little bit longer with the editing, and as you all may not have been aware, the last few weeks I have been under the weather, so I didn't get much done. But I'm getting back into the swing of things here. So over the next few days, I'm going to work on that and get the week 2 update for the alphabet blanket up for you. So the Alpine stitch, it looks very different if you use 2 different colors or even 3 or 4 than it does with a single. I prefer the single color just because I find it shows the texture a little bit better of the pattern. And this works up really nicely for any kind of a blanket, or even if you wanted to do like a pillow cover for like a throw pillow, or if you wanted to make it a couple squares and then a rectangle, and you could turn around and make yourself like a tote bag. It would turn out really nice. All right, so it's super easy, very beginner friendly. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Now you'll see here the way you start and the way you end, it leaves the single crochets on the end so that when you go to do your border around, it works up, the border goes on just perfectly. And you can put whatever kind of a border on of your choice. So I'm going to show you, like I said, you can change colors, and you would change every couple rows or every few rows. It depends on how you want it to look, because wherever you change the color will change the appearance of the pattern. Some people like to do this stitch with like different shade, not even like a dark and a light. They go for like a dark purple, a slightly lighter purple, then even a slightly lighter purple, and just then it almost looks like an ombre. I find I like the definition it gives the pattern when you use a single color. But again, personal preference. If you like to have the pattern, you would just literally change every few rows, because this is a few row repeat. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this. So it works up really nice, and it's easy once you get the hang of it. Okay, so I will put the link to the website that'll have the free PDF instructions for the pattern. As always, if you run into any problems trying to find the pattern, just let me know and I'll post them. The direct link is just the direct links are harder to post. I have to go in and really hunt for them. Excuse me. So for this pattern, I'm using a 6mm crochet hook, which is a USJ 10 hook, and I'm just using worsted weight yarn. I just have some Craft Smart worsted weight yarn from Michaels. I happen to have some of this left over from a previous project, so nothing too fancy. There it is. Nothing too fancy stitch wise. Like there's the chain, double crochet, single crochet, and from post double crochet, which some may not be familiar with. So when I get to those, I'll show you how to do those. But it's not that tricky, okay? And this works over an odd multiple of stitches. So depending on how big you want your project to be, will be how many stitches you need to do, how many starting chains. Okay, so for my sample, I think I will do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So it's multiples of 2 plus 1 that is your pattern. So as long as you've got an odd number of stitches, you will be fine. Okay, so you have your starting chain. I'm just looking at my pattern. So for the first row, what you're going to do is single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Now for this, you can either, some people like to go in, so there's your first chain. The one on your hook doesn't count. Here's your first chain, second chain. So you're going to go in here. Some people like to go in through the front. Some people like to use the little back humps. That is your personal preference. For today, I'm just going to go in. For me, if it doesn't specify to use the back loop, the back hump, I always just go in through the front. So 1, 2, we're going to single crochet, and I will post the links in the description box for the tutorials on any other videos that pertain to the stitches. So you're literally going to single crochet all the way across for your first row. So again, the alphabet blanket is going to be continuing. There are other projects coming up, and I probably should post a little short or a little clip explaining that the other blanket's still coming, because not everybody might watch this that's doing the blanket. So hopefully everybody had a good New Year and enjoyed their time with friends and family if you got to spend time with them. And hopefully people aren't catching this wicked flu that's going around. All right, let's see. I'm just going to count to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, there we go. First row is done, and that's what you should have after that. So for row 2, you're going to chain 2. Turn your work. Now, this chain 2 does count as the first stitch, okay? So you're going to skip this, and you're going to put a double crochet into the next stitch and in each stitch to the end. So we're not doing here, we're going here. And a double crochet is just yarn over, put your hook in, yarn over, pull up the loop so that you've got your 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do this all across. And again, if you've been crocheting for a bit, or even if you're just still learning, chances are the double crochet is one of the ones that you are familiar with. I need some more yarn pulled off here. I have it wrapped around, whoops, sorry, wrapped around the skein because I had used part of it and unwound something, I think. So we're going to double crochet all the way across, and I'll show you when you get to the end here, you need to be careful that you get into that last stitch, because sometimes those are a little hidden and tucked into the end, and you have to kind of wiggle your way in a little bit. All right, there we go. And make sure too, when you're doing your double crochets, that you're catching both loops of that stitch, because as you know, each stitch has a front and a back loop, and if it doesn't tell you to just do one or the other, you have to grab both so that you have a nice secure stitch. All right, we're getting to the end of row 2 here. Keep going with our double crochets. Now, as you can see, there is still 1 stitch here, all right? So you have to kind of make sure you grab both of those pieces of yarn, the V part that makes up that stitch, and there we go. And that's our row 2, okay? So now for row 3, we're going to chain 1. That does not count as our first stitch like it did with our double crochet. So we're going to single crochet again all the way across, but we're going to go into this first stitch here. Okay, so at the base of where you just did your chain 1, you're going to go in and do a single crochet in that one there. Okay, the only time it counts as a stitch is when you're doing that chain 2 to go into your double crochet rounds. Okay, so now we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. I know you're thinking, where does the other fancy part come in? We're getting to that. That's coming. And I know I've mentioned before, but if there is a stitch or a pattern that you would like to see a tutorial done on, leave a comment. And if it's something I can do, or if it's something that I can give you a hand with, I will be more than happy to do that. All right, we're getting towards the end here. And I'm going to show you, because you have that chain 2 from the previous row that you need to pay attention to here. So when you get to the end, you're going to see there's the chain 2. You need to go into the top of that chain 2 and put a single crochet. Otherwise, you're not going to have a straight edge. Okay, so there's our first 3 rows done. That's essentially the foundation. Okay, now for row 4, you're going to chain 2, which counts as your first double crochet. Now here's where we're going to do the repeat. We're going to front post double crochet 2 rows below, so 1, 2. So basically where we did our double crochet, we're going to go in and do a front post double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, go down, put our hook in from the front, around that post, and come back out through the front. So do you see that? I'll show you again. We yarned over, we're going to go in from the front towards the back, we're working around that post here, and we're going to put our hook and come out through the front. Then we're going to yarn over, and when you go and pull up your yarn, I want you to kind of pull it up a little bit, because you want it up level. If you don't pull it up enough, it's going to start kind of folding in on itself and curling. So you want to make sure you kind of give it a little bit of a pull, and once you get going, you're going to get used to that. Then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That's your front post double crochet. Now you're going to notice you have this empty stitch behind you, the piece you just did behind the front post double crochet. That's fine. You're not going to work into that one. You're going to do a double crochet into the next one. So we'll do our double crochet, because that holds that front post double crochet in front of that, so that you've essentially worked that stitch area, so you don't need to worry about that. So now we're going to, this is the repeat, the front post double crochet, double crochet. So now we're going to yarn over. Now we're going into this front post double crochet. We're going to work, we're skipping this one because that's where we just did our double crochet. So for the next stitch, we're going down into the post 2 rows below, going in from the front, around that post and out. Yarn over, pull up the yarn, give it a little bit of more of a tug so that you get it up a little bit. Yarn over through 2 and yarn over through 2. Again, don't worry about the stitch behind that front post, because that's essentially filled up. We're going to yarn over and double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're going to yarn over. For this stitch, we're going down and doing our front post double crochet in from the front, around the back of that post and back out to the front. Yarn over, pull up. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That's another front post. Then again, into the next with our double crochet, yarn over, into, skip this one because we just did the double crochet above it, into the next post below, we're going to do our front post double crochet. Again, please watch that you're pulling up far enough so that you're not going to start to curl your work. You don't want to put all this effort into it only to have it curl up on you. So again, here we go. And this is what you're going to repeat across to the end. And I'm just going to go a little slower so you can watch. So you can see too, this works up fairly quickly, so it would make a really nice, if you had like a baby yarn, or a really nice soft yarn, blanket yarn, would work up really nice. Now, if you don't use worsted weight, use the hook size recommended on the yarn wrapper. But if you feel like it's too dense of a stitch, just change your hook size. Go up a hook or two. Because with stuff like this, if you're making like a blanket now, there's not really any gauge per se. You can turn around and modify to make it how you would like it. Okay, here we go. So you'll notice on the first round, or the first row of the front post, when you get to the end, you're not going to put a front post double crochet around the last one. So at the end, you actually have 2 double crochets together. That's fine. I did 2 in here, okay? Which is fine. So then you're going to chain 1, turn your work. So for row 5, again, the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. You're going to single crochet in that first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. And I find too, okay, so you know how you can get like the variegated yarn or the different color changing yarns? I don't find they show the pattern as well of the stitch. This, in my opinion, again, comes down to personal preference, but when I'm putting the effort in to do a pattern that gives like a texture and a design, and the stitches, I like for them to be seen. So, okay, we're at the end here, and you have to do a single crochet in the top of that turning chain. So I like to use a yarn that's going to show that off and showcase the design I've been doing with my stitches. So like when you're looking at that, it kind of gets lost a little bit, okay? So that was row 5. So row 6, we're going to chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet. Now, here's where this one gets a little different. You're going to put a double crochet in the next one. And then, as you can see, so we did a front post double crochet previously here, and then we did our double crochet, front post, double crochet. We're going to alternate now. So we're going to put a double crochet over where above that previous front post, and then we're going to do the front post double crochet around the double crochet from before. So then we're going to do a double crochet. So you can kind of see we're going to be putting our front post double crochets in between the previous front post double crochets, so it gives you that alternating pattern. Again, making sure to pull up enough yarn so it doesn't pucker on you and curl up. Oop. So once you have your foundation rows done, that pretty much sets you up. And the foundation's the first few rows of the pattern. And then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to repeat rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. So essentially 3, 4, 5, and 6 until you have the desired length of your project. So like row 3 is a single crochet row. Row 4 is this row of front post double crochets. Then you have a row 5 is a single crochet. 6 is this row of front posts. So you're going to do 3, 4, 5, and 6 over and over until you have the size of the project you want. And you'll always end on a row 3, which is a single crochet row, so that you'll have the matching edge so that you can easily put on a border. All right, so now we're getting towards the end. We did not do a front post here, so we're going to do a front post around this one, pulling up. And then in our last one, we're going to put our double crochet to finish off that row. Oop. So there, you can kind of start to see the pattern developing and the texture of it by alternating those front posts above and below each other. So now for our next row, we're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet in the first stitch and each stitch across. So this is row 3, back to row 3. You're going to repeat row 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. And after your next set of those rows, you're going to go back to row 3, 4, 5, and 6. Something that would be nice with this too is if you made certain size squares of each color, so you have multiple colors, and then you could stitch the squares together and then put a nice border around all the squares. That would be pretty. It would still show the definition of the stitch, and you would have a different color combination. All right, so then we're going to chain 2. So for row 4, we're going to repeat what we did down here. Again, the chain 2 counts as the first stitch. So we're going to go in, and we're going to go down to the below and do our front post double crochet around that double crochet below, double crochet in the next, and we're doing the front post. You're doing your front post double crochets in between the 2 front posts from the rows below, if that makes more sense for you. And again, you can see, like, it doesn't take long. Like, it's a fairly quick stitch, and once you get used to the pattern repeat, you don't need to be looking at the pattern for reference. You may for the first little bit if you're still new to this, but you don't really need to keep track of where you're at like you do on some patterns. And this, it works up quickly and very nicely. And again, with a nice soft yarn, it makes a really nice baby blanket, or even a blanket for yourself for on the couch for when you're watching TV. So don't forget, for this row, when we get to the end, we're going to have 2 double crochets in a row, just because in order for you to have the alternating pattern, it works out that way. All right, so there you can see like that. So then we would turn around and chain 1, turn our work, and do another row of single crochets. Now I'm going to go a little faster with this just so we can finish this off. And when you finish you get to the length of your project, you're going to finish off with row 3, which is a single crochet row. so that you have even and symmetrical top and bottom, and again so that you can put your border on and make it look even. All right, and don't forget 2 in that chain 2, you have to put a single crochet in the top of that chain 2 turning chain. All right, so there you go. So what we would end up doing is row 6, which would be our front post double crochet in between the front posts of the previous row of those. All right, so this is the Alpine stitch. And again, it works up really nicely. And it would be very easy to make many different projects with this. It's very versatile. Okay, so, and like if you had multiple squares of this and then stitch them together, it would be really nice. It really would. You can make like a checkerboard. You'd have many options. So, but this is the Alpine stitch. I think it's known as another kind of stitch, but I can't think of the name. If you can think of the name of what it's also called, put that in the comments for me, because for the life of me, I know I've seen it referred to as something else before, but I don't know what. I can't remember. So anyway, that's the Alpine stitch. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I appreciate you watching. It means the world, because I'm glad people are appreciating the videos. I've had lots of kind comments, and that's always appreciated. So take care. Hopefully if you make anything with this, let me know and how it turns out. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And again, if you're working on the alphabet blanket along with us, stay tuned. There is the second video is coming, I promise. I'm getting back on track with things. So, all right, take care and look forward to seeing you in the next video. And happy crocheting.